Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much again for joining me here. Hope you're having a great day. Let's take a look here at SUI. 428 at the moment. Looks like it's in a falling type of wedge pattern here. We got this nice little descending trend line retest essentially. So usually that's a positive sign based on where it came from. So it's not a guarantee we're going to break out, but there's a solid chance that statistically we have that likelihood at this point. So we'll talk about that. Key level resistance is about 455. That's the tentative resistance based on local ranges. So really at this point here, par for the course for SUI. I really don't think that this is anything outrageously unique or different. But the truth is SUI has a tendency of performing poorly against Bitcoin sometimes, then turning around to do very well regardless of how poorly Bitcoin does. So I'm simply just stating that because anything could happen, there's a stronger likelihood we're going to see further upside for this coin, just based on patterns and areas of support, which we'll talk about in a minute. If you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. Got a Trading Academy community signals group, link down below if you're curious about that. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions, but we got a lot of new members coming over, so I would definitely recommend reading through our signals guide. I kind of explain how to probably set up my trades, and then of course trade alerts here too, just kind of giving indications of trades that we take that commonly result in profit. So let's take a look here at SUI. Last look back here, $5 to $5.50. We've known this for a while. It's heavy concentration liquidation. We look here, we got a decent chunk still left between basically right at 410. Majority of it got hit there with this lower low here recently, but just know that 410 could be a next area of retracement based on liquidation alone. Now we don't base our trades on that, but it is important to recognize that that can be a contributing factor. When we zoom in here a little bit the last 12 hours, we can see 450 is that heavy concentration of shorts. So people feel confident that we're not going to see 450. That's right there, close to that resistance range. We'll look at that here in a minute. And then, of course, we take a look here for liquidation delta. We can recognize that there are more people taking longs than shorts at this point. That's usually a favorable sign, especially in a descending type of trend. Okay, that implies likelihood of breakout. So we take a look here, of course, at the open interest. We can recognize that locally here. Let's go ahead and find the important ones. We can see people already heavy at about 450. What do you know? We got a resistance just above that, or that liquidation range too. Same thing here with 436 and then 420 just below. So some folks are in profit, but majority of people are in heavy at 435 and 450, which can reinforce the fact that those are probably going to be some resistance levels for us. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now let's take a look here at the weekly time frame, and we'll work our way down, get some perspective now that today's Monday, so we always want to kind of get a quick glance at the weekly here. And there's not going to be anything that's like crazy or weird here. This coin's fully bullish in the weekly, even though we got stochastic swinging down for the second time. That does carry more weight than the first. Everything else looks to be in good shape. We are at a point right now where, according to the overextension, you should consider securing profits if you have a long position from the $3 range. That's kind of what this is telling us. But again, it's mostly just a conservative way of securing profits. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to or should. Majority of everything else is still looking good, but the truth is the weekly time frame is not telling us much. It's not going to, because it was so overextended that a lot of times it can be, it's almost not worth trusting the weekly time frame because of how strong this coin moved up in such a short amount of time. Okay. Daily time frame, a bit better of a situation here as far as perspective is concerned. We can see here that the 20-day SMA, we're tentatively losing that right now, so that's not a great sign. While we have lost it in the past and not spent very much time below it, if we linger below the 20-day SMA for too long, we might see further downside. Right now, I'm not too worried about it because the candlestick hasn't closed yet today. And even if it does close below, there's a lot of other confirming factors, such as being over 50 in the RSI, money flow index staying right there with it. Even though stochastic and MACD are kind of still diverging, that's very par for the course considering how aggressive the price moved. I'm not really concerned with those things. Again, it's not because I'm just choosing not to think that those things are relevant. They are, but when you compare other factors, it doesn't make a ton of sense to focus on one divergence when there's a lot of other positive scenarios here. So again, that doesn't necessarily tell us too much. The daily and weekly timeframes are honestly they're basically bullish to neutral. Okay. 4-hour time frame here, this is where you can kind of see the shifts in momentum, if there are any. And at this point here, we look at this, we're still below both moving averages. So from a conservative standpoint, it's best not to take a long into this, okay? Because again, we got a lot of resistance at that 430 to 440 range. So I could totally see why. We have a heavy concentration of shorts here around 450. That makes a ton of sense. And again, this isn't where people shorted. It's just where their liquidation levels would occur or their stop loss. So the simple way to understand it is that there's a lot of resistance in this range here. Okay, this guy right here, 440 to 450, a lot of resistance. So just keep that in mind if you're going to be considering taking a long into this. It's not necessarily the best call, but the reason why it's still possibly even a good call is because of how strong SUI is and the fact that we've been digressing into a type of wedge pattern. And generally, those do break out to the upside. Granted, this is like a 55-60% success rate, so we want to have other contributing factors. You do not take a trade only on a trading pattern. I see a lot of people doing that, and it's you'll do it right a couple times. You'll think that that's exactly how it works, and then you're just going to get your ass handed to you at some point. So I don't recommend trading on that. But what I do recommend is waiting for 50 in the RSI to be broken, getting back up over that level. That usually tells us that the descending trend is being broken and we're establishing higher highs and higher lows, which we haven't done yet. Okay, so again, closing at 440 or higher would be what we'd probably want to look for in order to get that confirming factor. Hourly time frame, probably going to reflect a very similar scenario here. In fact, this is actually worse than most coins right now, which is odd because this coin is generally fairly strong. But we can see here, we're underneath the cloud. This is just kind of reinforcing that resistance of 437, more just round number 440, that golden pocket holding the price action in place. Same thing as well with the lagging span that is within the price action. So not is generally construed as a no buy zone, and that goes for shorts too. You don't want to short right now either. And then the conversion line and the baseline, they're really close together. So a lot of times when you see that happen, breakouts will occur. So based on SUI being a very strong coin and responding well to patterns and pulling back, generally recovering quickly, I wouldn't be surprised if the price takes off from here. However, there's nothing really here telling us that it's worthwhile to take a long position, and also confirming too that we're not in a position to verify that shorts are worthwhile either. Okay, so what do you know? Big surprise. 95% of trading is not trading, right? So this is one of those scenarios here where you just kind of got to bite the bullet and not take a trade. Okay. Now, if you do take a trade and you end up getting lucky at the upside, awesome. I hope that works out well for you. Just know that's not how it's supposed to work out based on these indicators here. The odds are against you at this point to take a long, but they're also against you to take a short too, because you don't want to short the bottom. All right. So it's a funny little situation. And usually when it's like a head scratcher, like, should I do this? Shouldn't I? Don't sit there and try to convince yourself you should. Just don't do it. Wait for a better opportunity. Find any other coin in the market. There's way better coins to trade right now than SUI. Again, I'm not discrediting SUI because I say that. I had to pretty much say that in most cases with these. Some folks are like super adamant about supporting their coin. No, I don't care about coins or their fundamentals really. From a technical standpoint, there's no reason to take a long right now. So if you do insist on doing that, low leverage, low position size. That's all I ask. If you want to take a trade with SUI and just use a phenomenal exchange, Bitunix, folks, link down below, $12,000 deposit bonus this month. Use my link to register, you'll be eligible for any future trading competition or bonus, and they've been literally having these every single month. Last month was a $60,000 prize pool for top 20 traders. This month is a deposit bonus. Be excited to see what they come up with soon. Okay? Either way, it's all there for you. I'll post our playout chart in our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord here shortly. I hope you have a phenomenal rest of your day. Thanks again for your time. See you soon.